Okay, picking up where we left off, we just picked one of the fields and decided we want to make that one a primary key. Let's add some more to it. So instead of here, I'm going to put in some more stuff. So for example, what is my major? And let's say that in this particular college, there's like a 4-character abbreviation for my major, like CIS or MGT or something. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to change this to 4. Okay, 4 characters wide. Cool? Now, once again, I can just hit X here and it's going to come up and say, hey, would you like me to save those changes? Yes, I would. Okay, cool. So I've created a table. Woohoo! All right, I want to add some data to that table. So if I just double click on this guy, it's going to say, okay, now this looks kind of sort of like an Excel spreadsheet, doesn't it? Where I've got, rows and columns, right? So I can go in here and just start typing. I could use the tab key and scoot over each one of the things. All right, one of the things you have to realize is this little, it's called a row selector. And the little asterisk means it's a new row. So I'm going to go in here and add a row of data. So this is student 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to use the tab key on the keyboard. And this is John, tab, Doe, tab, registered, I don't know, 7/7/2013. His age is 42. He's not a grad student, so I'm not going to check that. Oh, to make it check without using the mouse, yeah, if I hit the space bar, isn't that pretty cool? Space bar makes it toggle on and off. My major is electrical engineering. Okay, and so I'm just going to hit the tab key again. It just dropped me on down. So now this little asterisk guy has moved off that row and moved into this one. So let's do a couple more, not many. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, and I don't know. This is Sally Jones, and she registered on the 1st of January 2014. Her age is, I don't know, 22. And let's say she is a grad student, and her major is CIS. And I'm going to hit the tab key one more time, and doink. Okay, now, you remember how when you were in Microsoft Excel, you could go in and you could lasso rows and columns. Like you could go here and click on something and just kind of drag. Well, doggone it, I can't drag anything. Well, that's because this is not Microsoft Excel. So those functionality of being able to lasso documents and copy and paste, that part doesn't work well. Now, let me do something kind of funky here. Remember I told you that this thing has to be unique? Let's try it out. I'm gonna see if I can fake it out. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna tab past that, and I'm gonna call this one, I don't know, Kumquat Jones. And I don't know, who cares? How about 6/6 1966, and age is 66, and his major is evil. Okay, and I'm going to hit the tab key, and it says, wait a minute now, the changes you requested to the table were not successful because it would create a duplicate value in the index primary key relationship. Change that, fix it. So I say, well, okay. So it's not going to allow me. I can't even move off to any other row. I have no choice but to fix it because I can't navigate to any other field. I can't go to any other row. I've got no choice but to go here and say, okay, I'll change one of these guys to like a 6. Whew. Now I can move off of it. Okay, so that little functionality kind of sort of does work, doesn't it? Okay. So now I have some data. It's not bad. Kind of a good start. Okay, so now I want to add some additional data. Let's say, for example, that this university, every student has to have a faculty advisor. So there's a pairing between student and faculty. Okay? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a faculty table. So let's do that. So once again, I'm going to go to a table designer. And I'm going to create, so I'm just going to call this one, something like, faculty ID. And same kind of reasoning. I want these things to be unique. And so I'm going to make this a number. And I'm going to go over here and give it an example. So instead of just having this blank, wouldn't it be kind of cool if this description could kind of give you an example of what it looks like? Something like IE 1001 as a faculty ID. And then, the first name. And of course that's text. Let's change the width to say 40. Last name text is 40. Let's put department in here. And let's say it's about, I don't know, I'll leave it at, it could be something like, College of Arts and Sciences. Could be kind of big, so I'm going to use like 100. Okay, so if something doesn't make any sense, if you could not immediately tell what that is, wouldn't it be kind of cool if you did like another IE thing here? Like College of Arts and Sciences. Wouldn't that be kind of helpful? I think it would be. And we're going to make this one a primary key, so why don't I just put here that this one is the primary key? So I can just look at this guy now and tell him I don't need an explanation of what the guy's first name and last name is. Come on, give me a break. So once again, I want to highlight this row, and I want to tell it that I want it to be the primary key. Now the way we did it was we went and we did a right click. The other way is to go here and just hit the little primary key button. I'm going to do that. Doink. So now I have a table that is potentially going to be faculty. So I'm going to hit close, and of course it's going to ask me, do you want to save this? Well, of course I do. What would you like to save it as? I'm going to faculty. So let's put some faculty data in before we get much further. So faculty. Faculty is 1001, and first name is, I don't know. I'm running out of names. How about, I don't know, Ted Bundy. And department, I don't know. How about I'll just put CIS. That's good enough. And then we have another person out there. I'm trying to remember a serial killer name. I'm having trouble. I don't know, Ted Bundy and who cares? We'll do Mickey Mouse. And Mickey Mouse is in the accounting department. Let's do a couple more. And so this is, I don't know, did I do Kumquat Jones already? Okay, and they're in management. Okay, so now I've got some data. Okay, cool. Now, the real thing about databases is not just the ability to put things in rows and columns, because if that was all you're trying to do, you could have done this in Microsoft Excel, right? So what I want to do is I want to pair the two tables together. I did not, for example, want to go to students here and add an extra column on to include their advisor. I don't want to do that, because the whole point of a database is if we're talking about students, it's only students. If we're talking about faculty, it's only faculty. You don't mix the two together. So you don't take a table and just make it wider and wider and wider when you add on more and more stuff. That's just not the way it's done. That is the way it's done in Microsoft Excel, but it's not the way it's done in Microsoft Access. Okay, so the idea is now I want to stitch these two together. Well, in order for me to stitch these two together, I need to add a new field to either the faculty column or to the student column. And I could have a field over here to faculty, which would point to the student. That would work. Or I could have a field over here in students that pointed to the faculty. And here's how you decide where you do it. Typically, there's going to be a one-to-many relationship. One faculty is going to be an advisor over many students, right? But a student is only going to have one faculty advisor. So it's a one-to-many when you're looking at it this way, right? And it's a one-to-one when you're looking at it this way. So the rule of thumb on where to do the attachment is on where there is the fewer. So faculty to student, I want to put the new field over here on the student that points back to the faculty. So I put the new thing where I'm pointing to the smallest. Does that make any sense? Or I put the field on the mini side, pointing back to the one side. Kind of difficult to explain. We're going to show it graphically here in just a minute. So what I want to do is I want to alter the student table to add something that'll point back to faculty. So how do you alter the design of a table? By highlighting it and hitting the little design. Yep, cool. Whoa, I didn't want that. Let's highlight that and hit design. Man, I'm having trouble getting that to work. One more time. Student design. Whew. Okay, what I want to do down here is I want to put in a new field, and we're going to call it faculty ID. And I'm going to use a number. Why? Because the other table had something called faculty ID. And by the way, for this linking to work, the names do not have to be the same. They don't have to both say faculty ID. Now, I'll admit it's probably a good idea to maintain your sanity that way if they were both the same, but it's not required. Okay, so I've added a field, and I'm going to hit save to make that thing work. Now let's go back to my students. So here's my students, and so I'm going to add in that John Doe has a faculty advisor of 1001, and Kumquat Jones has one for 1001, and Sally Jones has 1002. Okay, cool. So what I've done is I've fixed it, so I've added something here that points back to the other table. But we're not done. We haven't really told the database that the two tables are related in any way. Right now, it's just a coincidence that the student table happens to have a faculty ID field that just so happens to match the faculty ID field in the faculty table. But it's just a coincidence. So we need to formalize this relationship so that the database knows that the two are indeed related. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to this Database Tools tab, and there's this Relationship button. I'm going to close down all the tables first. So I hit the Relationship button, and then I want to show me the tables. Well, I'm going to add the faculty table. I want to add the student table. And so now I have two tables on this little designer. So what I want to do is I want to tell the machine that this table is related to that table. And the way you do it is you drag one of the fields from this table onto that one. Or the way around. It doesn't matter if I grab this guy and drag him onto there, that would work. Or if I just grab this guy and drag him onto here. It doesn't matter which way you go. And then I'll let go. And it's going to come up and say, hey, would you like to create a relationship here? And I go, yeah. Well, one of the purposes of creating a formal relationship is it can help you keep out of trouble. For example, if I entered a bogus faculty ID, I typed in 1042. If you recall, there is no 1042. So if I type in a bogus one, it's going to come back and say, dude, sorry, that's a wrong number. So I want to enforce referential integrity. Now, that's a mouthful, but what that basically means is put some smarts in this thing. Fix it so that whenever I add data, check to see if the thing I'm adding already exists. That's all that means. So I'm going to say, yes, I'd like to create this. Ta-da! And so it has figured out this is a one-to-many relationship. Remember, one faculty can be an advisor to many students. It has already figured that out for us. Cool, huh? I'm going to hit close. It's going to say, would you like to save this? Yeah, sure, what the heck. Okay, now let's just show this thing off. So if I go to my students here, I'm going to add me another one. I'm going to add, I don't know, 5555, and this will be Jane Doe. And who cares? How about 2002? And her age is 22. And her major is 22. Who cares? Then I get down to here and I type in 1042. Now, there is no 1042. And I navigate past that, and it comes up and says, hey, I can't add or change whatever it is you're doing because there's a related record is missing. Cool? So, once again, just like the problem we had with the primary key, I have to fix that. Well, there is one called 2003. So if I change this to 2003, it'll actually let me in. Okay, cool. So now we've established an honest-to-God real relationship between the two tables. Okay, this is a good place to stop for the 15-minute mark. Let's pick this thing up again in just a few.